Yeah, today's an art stream. I was saying I still don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing yet, but we'll look through a few things. I had a poll on Facebook and Twitter a few days ago about which title screen color combinations work best between the King's Quest 1 logo and the King's Quest 4 logo, and then a new one I made with the King's Quest 4 banner upside down. So it kind of looks like it's framing the picture. That's better. Good. And let me see if I can bring them up here. So we had the good old King's Quest 4 one I've been using. And then original? Yeah. Oh, that's an old one I did with my attempt at an alphanumeric 2. I don't like it. That'll pick numeral, is that it? Yeah. We won't be using that one. And then yeah, I don't have the other colors here, but so red, blue, this is King's Quest 1. This is King's Quest 4's banner. And we've got a red, blue, the red on white, which is what the original AGI screen looks like. And then a purple, which a couple people asked for. There's room for another color, so because there's 4 palettes in every picture, so I just threw it in to see what it looked like. I don't really like it. The gold doesn't go with the purple very well, I don't think. Not, at least not this color purple. And then this one. The upside down one. And it's... I don't know, I'm going to leave it like this one for a while and see how it looks as I'm playing. And like every time I boot up the game and see it, maybe it'll really grow on me. Maybe I'll not like it after a while, who knows. But that's why we gotta try it. But this one, I also have the red, the blue, the red on white, and then kind of a silver with the purple, which looks nicer. But again, it doesn't really suit King's Quest 2. But I figure I could use all of these and just have them randomized when you boot up the game. Or do something neat where if you hold down a certain key, it'll change, as you're booting up the game, it'll change the color. So like, say you hold down C, it'll bring up the purple and silver here. You hold down B, it'll be blue. You hold down R, and it'll be red. And default, I think I like the red on white, honestly. I didn't think I'd like it so much, but I do. So this is what it's going to be by default for now. Just for now. I'm just trying to remember how I set the palette when I draw the screen. See, it's not even there. I gotta look on the manual again. Had you thought about putting the 2 behind the banner? I don't want to do that. I want to copy the King's Quest 1 layout. Banner on top. New. Well, in King's Quest 1 it was an alphanumeric 1, but with the number underneath it. I don't want to do that way. Just my own preference. I had created it. I took the great big Roman numeral 4 from King's Quest 4 and turned it into a Roman numeral 2, and I could put it as a sprite behind the banner in the center of the screen. But I'd rather do something different. I mean, King's Quest 2, 3, and 4 all have that style. And someone mentioned something, I think it was on Twitter, or no, it was Facebook, that it's kind of neat how every game might have their own spin on the title. So King's Quest 1 is an alphanumeric 1, banner at the top. So King's Quest 2 can have a framing banner at the top and a Roman numeral in the center. And I've seen it so long now, I'm kind of got attached to it, and I like this version of the banner too. It just makes it a little bit different. Well, we'll see. I might throw it back later, or maybe I can design after versions that all look like the different games. So maybe if you hold down S, it'll do the Stonewall background from King's Quest 5 and 6. Maybe I'll just do them all. Yeah, so while this is an art stream, I just want to set this up with the proper color first, and I'm just trying to remember how to do that. So I'm going to bring up the SCI companion documentation here. And just remember how to set the palette. Oh yeah. Everything to do with SCI 0 is not in the documentation. Well, I just have to look at the source of a game that does use alternate palettes. Quest for Glory 1 does. QG Anth. Quest for Glory 1 old. A random room here. Nothing. I'll find the code that. Well, King's Quest 4 actually might. The original King's Quest 4 anyway. Do I have this decompiled? I don't think I do. Bang. Let's decompile it. As long as I don't change anything, just have a look, it'll be fine. Okay. Let's just take this room. Room 1. No palette. I don't remember how to do it. Oh well, I can do it later. I'll just leave it red for now, I guess. It's just a simple line of code, and I just don't remember what it is. And it's not showing up in the documentation, so... Good morning, Ribbons of Distinction. Nice to see you. Sir Marks-a-Lot, good morning to you too. How are you able to find these files and get them to open? Which files? The game files? SCI Companion can open all SCI games. Is that what you mean? SCI Companion is a complete IDE, integrated development environment for SCI games. So you can create the pictures, the views, the animations, you can write the scripts, the texts are all here, the sounds are all here, even the vocabulary for all the words in the game are all here. You can add more, the fonts, the cursors, the instrument lists. I assume that's what you meant. Correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, I just want to take another look at the... Okay, kernel functions. Palette? SCI 1.1 only. Okay, I need SCI 0. Picture is the script number. There's no other code with picture in there. Okay, draw a pic. Okay, default palette. It must all be handled by, wait, what if I do this? Palette 3. Palette is not an instance. Okay. Definition of room. What are the properties? Vanishing X, vanishing Y. Pick angle. Current pick, west, southeast, north, controls, horizon, style, picture. Yeah, nothing for palette. Okay. Draw pick. Pick num. Method replay. SCI Companion, yeah. Created by Phil Fortier, based on work done by, I mean, it's written from scratch, I believe, but before him, Brian Provinciano made SCI Studio way back in the early aughts, late 90s likely. And that could do the same thing. This has a few more features. You can decompile game scripts from Sierra Games, so we can actually go in and see their scripts, whereas we couldn't before. It's got a built-in sound interface. Limited. You can't create sounds with Companion, but you can see the MIDI data and play it back and set loop points and cue points and things like that. It also can edit SCI 1 games, so VGA SCI games like King's Quest 5, 6, Police Quest 1, 3, whereas SCI Studio could only do SCI 0 games, that is, EGA parser games with limited mouse support. I'm doing King's Quest 2 in the SCI 0 format, like King's Quest 1's remake that Sierra made. As a cheeky youth, I edited an AGI game to change some of the text commands. Snort caffeine for increasing the walk speed. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, there is a whole slew of... You can do the same thing with AGI games with a program called AGI Studio, made by Peter Kelly. And another program called WinAGI. I can't remember the name of the person who made that. But he's still working on WinAGI, but Peter Kelly's long since moved on. And I actually have AGI Studio open, so I have King's Quest 2 open in AGI Studio. You can look through the pictures, through the visual and priority screens. You can open the logic and take a look at the code. It's obfuscated, but you can still sort of read it. All the views here, and the sounds. You can't preview the sounds, though. AGI Studio is a little bit more limited, but I've been using it as a base to figure out how King's Quest 2 did things, so I can duplicate it in King's Quest 2 SCI. Came across your Twitch channel and watched a few of your earlier videos this week. Did you help create some of the King's Quest Redux games? I worked on the soundtrack for King's Quest 3 Redux for AGDI. Most of the soundtrack. And I also did music. I was one of 3 composers who did music for Infamous Adventures Space Quest 2 remake. But just in the music capacity and sound capacity, I didn't do any programming. This is kind of my first public foray, anyway, into programming games or game development in general. And I after a number of years, I've kind of gotten the hang of SCI syntax. So I keep forgetting. Yeah, there's where it does the palette right there. I gotta figure out how to do that in the title screen. I'm just trying to change this to... Every EGA SCI 0 picture has 4 palettes you can use in the game. This is how games like Quest for Glory did nighttime scenes and daytime scenes. The same picture, but if you have a different... yeah, if I go here... Okay, that's King's Quest 4. No, let's open Quest for Glory 1 for a second. So we go... So here's Irana's piece here. Irana, I don't know. But if we do different palettes. Oh, that was obviously not a good example. This screen. So it has the regular daytime on palette 1, and then palette 2, it counts in computers always count from 0, not from 1. So palette 0 is daytime, palette 1 is nighttime. Every screen in the game has this. And the way how that's done is you have a palette of colors here. You have your so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 40 colors, possible color values you can have. It's only 16 colors, but you can dither some of them. So it's a blend between 2 different colors. So if you change the palette, you can change some of the colors in the palette to resemble nighttime. So the picture's drawing with the same palette entry, but because it's using a different palette array of colors, it can redraw it in a different view. So that's how that works, and that's how I've done this title screen for King's Quest. I was trying to decide between different colors. I think I'm settling on this one, the red on white. And I was just trying to figure out how to call the palette in the... I can't figure it out. I can't remember. I did it before. I just don't remember what I did. That is awesome. Thank you for that. You're welcome. Palette swapping saves hard drive space. Yes, indeed it does. So I could have multiple picture resources for the different palettes I want, but it just makes sense to save more space by using different palettes. So that's, I mean, it wouldn't matter these days because file size and disk space is not a concern now, but back in the 80s, late 80s, it was. You can do the same thing with VGA games, actually. Just the palettes are a different array of 256 colors, and that was used quite a bit in, especially in games like Space Quest V, where it uses different palettes to, and you can fade between palettes too. That's the other cool thing. So like for screens where the alarm's going off and the whole screen is flashing red, that's palette cycling. Well, palette shifting. Palette cycling is something different, where there's colors in a palette and the colors cycle and animate within the palette, and that's how you get things like the Sierra logo with the colors moving, the Space Quest 4 CD logo with the blue cycling. But then there's shifting, where you can shift between 2 different palette entries altogether, and you have the smooth transition. Obviously can't do that in EGA, but it's just an evolved form of that capability. Played the Redux games back in the early 2000s, right when they came out. You and your team did a good job. Well, thank you. Yeah, well, the one I did wasn't in the early thousands. King's Quest 1 VGA and King's Quest 2 Plus by AGDI were released in the early thousands. And then we worked in secret on... I wasn't a part of those. But they got another group of people to do King's Quest 3 for them, and I was one of them who did the music, and we worked on that in secret for like 6-7 years until we finally released that in, I think it was 2012 or 2011, I can't remember. It was like in the end of December or the beginning of January, I can't remember which one it was. And so it was a number of years later, and it was just a good thing nobody knew about it, because they'd be hounding us to release it, but so kind of wise to keep it secret. Space Quest 2 took a while, though, too. That's the thing with fan games. When you got no budget, it takes a while. Sometimes it still takes a while. Mage's Initiation took 8 years, which is Himalaya Studios. I did the music for that game, too. Himalaya Studios' second commercial game, which is the same group that did the King's Quest remakes. Just under their commercial name. So... there's got to be some flag I can set, because here it's setting the draw pick right here. So where is replay called? Main super replay. Okay, so here is where it's in the main script. Yeah, I don't remember how to do it. I wonder if I could do it just right here. Draw pick. Current pick. G-room current pick. Okay, yeah. Current pick. Yeah, let's do DP clear, I guess. Or DP none. No clear. And then we need the palette. G default palette. I don't want default palette. I want palette 3. Will that work? What happens? Pick 0 not found. Oh, I see. Script number. This is probably a hacky way to do it if it works. It didn't work. Oh, I gotta change the sparkling locations too. I played that one too. Nice. Thanks for playing. Yeah, they were fun to work on. Even if they took a while to make. So it's like it's ignoring super init. Maybe I should do it after the super init. Right here. Nope. Not working. I can't remember. I'll, oh, wait. Draw pick. Draw pick's not there either. So this is Quest for Glory 1. The Ogre Cave screen. I'm just trying to see where it depends on... Okay. Do we have... No. Local variables? There are no local variables. Everything, when you decompile a Sierra game script, it doesn't get all of the labels for everything, so it kind of generically names everything, like procedure 0_10 is the 10th procedure, which is just a programming function. The 10th procedure in script 0. And so I don't know what this is unless I go to it. Go to the definition. And here's where it's defined. So it takes one parameter and it's used in the function here, and it uses global variable 350. I don't know what that variable does either, because that's not labeled. So it's hard to read sometimes. So global variable 350 is way down here. And it's not even declared, so whatever. So ego object is positioned at this area on the screen. His loop is set to 1, and what loop means is each direction he's facing is a different loop of cells that animate when he walks. So loop 0 or loop 1 would be facing left, because everything counts from 0 in programming. Procedures are a bit esoteric there. Yeah. There is some efforts underway to deobfuscate Sierra decompiled scripts and code by a guy named Eric Oak something. He's on the SCI programming forums. SCI SCIprogramming.com. It used to be SCIcommunity.com, but then the site went offline, and then that URL was taken. So when he came back and recreated it, the site owner, he had to rename it. So SCIprogramming.com, he's on there, and he's decompiled a whole bunch of Sierra games so far, completely decompiled and unobfuscated. But mostly just SCI demos so far. I know he's done King's Quest 1, the full game. I think he just recently finished Quest for Glory 1, the full game, actually. So what if we... Adventures Sierra sources. Whoops, why did it do that? Sierra sources. Okay. Okay, yeah, these are demos. Oh, but there it is, the source right there. So, this is the newest one. So if I extract this, if I close this, extract this to Adventures Sierra Quest for Glory Ants, Glory 1 old, and then reopen it. We still got procs. Maybe I didn't extract it at the right place. No, I did. Oh, yeah, stupid. Close game. Yes to all. Alright. Now we open it. That's not it. Quest for Glory 1. There we go. Everything has different names now. So we Ogre Room. And now looks like all the procedures have names. Excellent. That's pretty cool. It's not well, it would have been declared when Sierra was programming the game, but once things get compiled, a lot of the information, like names of procedures and variables and stuff like that, a lot of that gets lost. Some of it persists, and when it's decompiled, some names of symbols are still there, and we can derive some of them, but we can't realistically get all of them. Because when you compile, half the information is lost because it's converting it all into machine code, assembly, or machine code, yeah. So we don't have access to the original source code really, so we have to work with decompilations. Do you know anything about the King's Quest VI? How the King's Quest VI intro was created? Somewhat. Did I see hieroglyphic Rosella in the Quest for Glory views? Yeah. There it is. Is this must be a view from Erasmus's house or something? There it is. Yeah, it's in the game somewhere. I don't know Quest for Glory 1 very well, so I don't know where that would be, but it's in there somewhere. So, the King's Quest VI intro. Are you talking about the intro video? Like the 3D rendered camera moving and talking, or just the whole sequence and how it's programmed and stitched together? Because that video is just that, a video. And they made that, rendered it, and put it in the game. So there's no source for that. But let's see here. Let's just open King's Quest VI for a second. So the introduction script would be if we can find it. Nope. Alright, so when we start up the game, it starts in main. What does it do after that? Game is restarting. New room 99. So, 99, what room is that? Speed room? I don't think that's the actual name of the room. I think this is the first... Okay, yeah. New room 100. I think the speed room actually does some testing on how fast your computer is somehow and sets certain features. Okay, so this script is called Button Actor. I don't think that is the name it's supposed to have. Some of the names get mixed up when you decompile. And when you re-decompile, it gets new symbols and new global names and tries to rename everything properly, but sometimes it gets messed up. Okay, this is the intro script. So, load res pick 100. So that's the Stonewall logo, this here. Which means this is where the buttons appear. So you can click on Introduction or Start Game or Restore or whatever the fourth one was. Quit? And this right here. So not all the scripts in a game can be decompiled, and some of it falls back to assembly. So this is not as easy to read, and I only have a faint grasp of assembly language. But this is how the machine code reads it. And it wasn't able to decompile straight to the SCI syntax like this. So it falls back to this. But it's pretty good. It gets like 98-99% of scripts decompiled for the most part. Opening button, new room 108. So script to 108. This looks like the introduction. Show movie. So yeah, it just triggers a movie for the opening movie. In Windows, if you play the Windows version of the game, it plays tune.avi. If you play the DOS version, it plays a file called SCQ, sequence. Show movie 3, show movie 6. So there's not much program there. You just kind of plays the video and you wait for it to be done. And after it's done, it goes to room 200. Which is the beach screen. Yeah, the entire King's Quest VI intro is just a movie. Not much programmed in it. Nice seeing you in the Discord wild. Haha, yeah. Nice to run into you there. Where did we meet again? Was it in the Doom 64? On the Doom Discord? The Doom 64 channel? Good to see you again, though. Anyway, we were trying to figure out how this game draws screens with different palettes. And it's not here. I can't find it. Okay, everything is in the init method, the initialization method. I know this says it's supposed to be an art stream, but I'm trying to get this title screen to work in the game right now. Right now it's just red, but I want it to draw the screen with palette 3 or 4 with the red on white. Because I kind of like this. I think I'm going to set this as default. And then I'll probably do something neat where you hold down a key, and when you start up a game and you hold down the key, it'll do a different color. Just for fun. Because everyone had different preferences, so why not use them all? There's no reason why I can't. As long as I can figure out how to do it. What if I did this? Just did 800. Nope. Doesn't want to do it. I don't know. I know there's a way to do it, though. Because I've done it before. I've made the game start up with the blue color before. I just don't remember what I did. So I'm trying to see how Quest for Glory 1 did it, because it uses different palettes for day and nighttime. Oh, there's nothing in the initialization method. That must be held in the main script. That's got to be it. Because when you set a new room script, it automatically handles initializing and drawing the script. There's no actual draw commands in its own room script. It handles that somewhere else as kind of like an automatic thing that happens to every new room. I know it's fairly simple, and I did it before. I just don't remember. Thanks for showing me that. Wow, 6 versions for the intro. Not surprised, though. They did create King's Quest 6 in like 5 languages. 6 versions? Oh, I missed a bunch of messages here. I think I read this was rendered in 3ds Max. Probably. And I know that Sierra hired, like, Hollywood visual effects designers to do that. That's the only info I could find. Would love to get my hands on the 3D file. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is long gone. Long gone. When Sierra was first bought out, the company that took over just came in and dumped everything they had. Like, it's really seemed like a malicious intent to just take over Sierra just so they could shut it down and throw everything out that they had. Like, they threw out expensive technology. Like, Al Lowe, the designer of Leisure Suit Larry, Freddie Farkas, he was explaining once how when they came and took over, they had this really efficient system they designed for recording voice dialogue to games, where they would, all you have to do is press the space bar and you could record a voice line from a microphone. It would save it to a DAT tape, like digital audio tape, and then when you press space again, it would stop, and it would automatically trim out the silences in between. All you have to do is press space, and it would do everything automatically. And he said it was way ahead of its time, and it was super expensive, and they just chucked it out. Nobody else had anything like that works, and it would automatically implement into their message system for SCI games, and like it would generate the scripts, and it did everything just by pressing spacebar. Everything was automatic, and they just chucked it. They threw out computers, they threw out hard drives, they threw out concept, they just chucked it all in a dumpster. It's sad. Ken's book made it sound like Davidson wanted Sierra dumped for religious reasons. I know I didn't read his book, but I definitely think people wanted it dead. I've always just figured it was because Sierra was the top of the food chain, and they just wanted to take down the top of the food chain and just like totally sully the name, make it a footnote, and well, they succeeded because, I mean, who knows what average gamer knows who Sierra is now? And like, if it wasn't for them, gaming wouldn't be where it is today. Way ahead of their time, absolutely. So it was a sad thing. Some Sierra employees, when they were shut down, called the day Black Monday. I like just Scott Murphy's word for it. He called it Chainsaw Monday. So after Ken sold Sierra, they shut down Oakhurst, all the Sierra studios, like adventure game studio. They just shut it down, and everyone lost their jobs immediately, except for Al Lowe, who was a contractor anyway, and he wasn't hired by Sierra at that time, as I understand it. Yeah, everyone else lost their jobs. Horrible. Dark day in Sierra's history. Okay. So, I think I'm gonna get rid of this. It draws the priority, and it's drawing on top of my sparkles I got over the banner, which we can't have that, so we're gonna disable the priority there. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, nope. Still some more going on there. Turn it off. There we go. Save. Now when we start it up, those sparkles should be on top. But they're in random places. They need to be on the letters. So we go back to the title screen. Now all the coordinates for all those sparkles are instanced at the bottom of the script here. I'm not sure how to flip them. They shouldn't be flipped anyway. They need to just be moved around. I'm gonna have to do that at some point. I'll do that on a programming stream. This isn't supposed to be a programming stream. and I'm doing mostly programming. I'll figure this palette thing out later. Let's see here. Let's take one last look in here. Trying to think of what other Sierra games use different palettes for different screens. I guess Space Quest 3. Space Quest 3 did. Alright. This screen with the rats and the generator. Where is it? This one. This one's got to have a different palette. It doesn't. So does it just use a completely different picture? Doesn't look like it. Huh. It doesn't either. So how does it do it? Picture 15, picture 157. Okay. So it is just a completely different picture. That seems like a waste. Yeah, there it is. Oh well. I feel like that's something they could have done with a different palette instead. King's Quest 1 doesn't have different palettes. Quest for Glory 1 and 2 are the only ones I can think of. Camelot doesn't. So much detail in this development most people would never think about. Yeah. Placement of sparkle animations on the opening title, and like you gotta place each one perfectly. Which, you know, we can do, but Sierra was ahead of their time. I was 12 when I first saw King's Quest 6. It was brand new at the time and being demoed on a computer at Incredible Universe when I first saw it being played. I swear I couldn't get my hands on a copy fast enough. Yeah. King's Quest 4 also did it in later versions, I think. First version had different pictures for day and night. Yeah, they didn't. King's Quest 4, neither version used different palettes, though. I don't think. The original... Where is it? King's Quest 4. First. So this is the initial version. The first version that was released. So this is the version with... The most visually distinctive difference is... Cupid's pool here. It has the two bushes in front. And the newer version doesn't have those bushes. But it doesn't use different palettes. It does use different screens entirely for nighttime, as you can see, which looks a lot moodier. This is the one I remember playing as a kid. But if we go with the newer version, see, here's that same screen, no bushes. They don't have alternate screens for night, but they do use alternate screens. As you can see here, let's just pick one. Okay, so this one. They don't redraw the whole screen, but they do use different assets, so it's just the stars and some of the highlights, like the lights on the windows of the house, and it just draws this on top of the other one. But it doesn't use different palettes. Still. So it actually is not quite as good. It saves on disk space for sure, and that's pretty well all they cared about, it seemed like. Like if this was drawn on top of that, it would look like nighttime, but the actual grass color would still be all bright, the water would still be bright. Unlike the original where it darkened the whole screen and was a lot moodier. So it looks full bright, just with stars in the sky. Yeah.
The bushes only come out at night. I need to get a copy of Kin's book, too. I also like to get a copy of Sean's book. The Sierra Adventure. Ken's book is Not All Fairy Tales Have Happy Endings, and then Sean's book is not made by an employee. It's made by one of the guys from Infamous Quests, but he went and did interviews with a whole bunch of ex-Sierra employees and got their stories too. I'd like to get both books. So yeah, it's interesting that they had this feature right here and they didn't even really use it very much, as far as I can see. King's Quest 1. Something interesting about King's Quest 1, though, is for the throne room scene. Where are you? Right here. This is actually the exact same picture resource as King's Quest 4's throne room scene, except it's a different palette. So King's Quest 4's throne room, the coloring is based on the AGI games. So King's Quest 1, 2, and 3, and even the AGI version of King's Quest 4 kind of had this red carpet with dithered red here and gold and stuff. But for King's Quest 1 SCI, they changed the colors to have more solid colors. A purple carpet and then red carpet on the throne. These purple lines here. It's slightly different, but it kind of feels more regal. But it's the exact same picture. They just changed the first palette. I have Sean's book, but I haven't read it yet. Oh, I thought I was the only person who really felt passionate about these games. No, sir. I prefer the King's Quest 4 version myself. Yeah, this is definitely more traditional, and it's got that nostalgic vibe. I kind of appreciate this version, though. It kind of set King's Quest 1's art style aside a little bit. But I just thought that was interesting. But other than that, it doesn't use those palettes. It's just, this was the default palette, and then they changed the first one for King's Quest 1. But if you called the right palette on when the game runs, you could actually draw it in-game like this, with just a simple line of code. If I could remember what it is. I don't think anything else uses palettes here. King's Quest 1 is beautiful art, though. I can't do it justice, but I'm trying my best to copy it, mimic it for King's Quest 2. Okay, Sierra, come on. Leisure Suit Larry. Did Leisure Suit Larry 3 have different screens? Palettes? I don't think so. I've never really played through this game, so I wouldn't know. Some nice art, too. I don't think it does, though. Police Quest. That was like this. Police Quest 2 is the second, I think, SCI game ever made. The first one being King's Quest 4, so I don't think that utilized it either. Quest for Glory. Just for fun, let's look at Quest for Glory 2. Wow. This has 3 different palettes. So that's daytime, I assume. Nighttime. And another daytime? Maybe dawn? Or no, that's probably just... the colors aren't defined. That probably wasn't even used. We go to an outdoor scene like desert. Oh, look at that. Lord Draken, thank you for following, sir. There's only a few screens in LSL 3 that can be visited during day and night. Yeah, so they probably just had separate screens, right? The Ice Cream Man song, LOL. Love the music. Is that what it was? I have a bunch of Sierra soundtracks from Quest Studios just playing in the background. I haven't played half the games. Like Quest for Glory games and Leisure Suit Larry games I haven't played. And Dagger of Amon-Ra I haven't played very much of. I still have a bunch to play and go through, actually. But this is interesting. Check this out. So this is the same picture, but with different palette entries. It's a completely different background. That's fascinating. Completely different, almost. It's got the same dune here, but it gets rid of a couple Horizons hills there. That's the most clever use of the palette feature I've ever seen. Like that's Mark Ferrari levels of genius. Mark Ferrari designed graphics. He showcased on a GDC talk once how he made. Mark Ferrari did graphics for LucasArts, and he would like hand paint each dithering pattern by hand. It's insane. But he showed the graphics he did for a side-scrolling shooter game, I think it was. I don't know what it was called, but like one background would be like a cityscape, another one would be like a jungle during the day, and then another one at evening. It's all the same picture, and the only difference is he's using different palettes. So it's a lot like this, where drawing in the same spot, like if we look at the palette here, you can see quite the difference of palette of entries there. Like the white here turns to blue, so obviously this entry was used for the line here for this glint on the horizon there. What else? Yeah, so this sand color here is just sky color here. So it's drawn with different color entries, and it's got 40 available, so that if you pick a different palette, it looks almost completely different. And that's so cool. I never knew that before. Quest for Glory 2 is probably the most impressive SCI 0 game in that regard. What program are you using? This is SCI Companion by Phil Fortier of Icefall Games. It's used to edit SCI games from SCI 0 all the way up to SCI 1.1. You can also open SCI 32 games, so high-res games like Space Quest 6, King's Quest 7. You can open them. You can't script in them. It won't compile properly, but you can open them and edit the resources. I'm not sure. Can you create custom pictures in high-res? You probably can. You can decompile Sierra game scripts and look at how they did things. Okay, so this one doesn't... Look at that, though. So all 4 of these palettes must be used for something. So that's daytime, that's nighttime. This looks like there's 4 different ones here. This looks like dusk or something, or sunrise. That's got to be on purpose, right? Maybe this one is not? I don't know. I never played the game. I haven't played those or Gabriel Knight series. I've played Gabriel Knight 1, but I haven't beaten it. But I've seen the ending. I saw my dad beat it. And I used to, when I was a kid, load up his save game at the end of the game and play through it. So that game's ruined for me, but it's still a good game. Lorable 2 is my favorite. I finished it probably 10 times over the years. Oh, I gotta get to it. I think I only finished Colonel's Request once, and that was with hints when I was a kid, because when I was a kid I was stupid and wanted to beat everything and just looked at walkthroughs. Luckily I didn't do it with every Sierra game, but I did it with a lot. And I'll never forgive my younger self for doing that. Need to play the rest of the games written by Josh Mandel. Yeah, what games did he do? King's Quest 1, Space Quest 6, well, half of Space Quest 6, Freddy Farkas, Lorabo 2. I can't remember the other ones he made, if he did make other ones. Josh Mandel wrote games, yes sir. Makes sense if he had to either out those details, recycle the artwork to save time. Yeah. It definitely saves on disk space. That was really impressive. What computer program did they use for the artwork in King's Quest 7? I don't know. They had Windows by that time. It might have been some Windows tool, or they might have had some in-house tool. I think most people used Deluxe Paint back in the day, but I can't see them using that for King's Quest 7. And a lot of it, I think, was 3D rendered, pre-rendered. Or no, it's King's Quest 7. That was probably hand-painted. That was hand-painted and scanned in. And they probably pixel edited with some image editing program. Yeah. Josh Mandel definitely wrote games, yep. So, I can't figure it out. I'm gonna leave it. We gotta get on with things. We're an hour into the stream now, almost. Let's see here. So, this is supposed to be an art stream. Rebuild. So I'm slowly but surely recreating each background of King's Quest 2. This one. These two here I traced over the AGI originals, making some changes here and there. So if we go to the AGI original and just pick this one, for instance, what I did was trace over it like this. So this has the ability to put a trace image and then you can draw over it and copy it. So that's what I did. I didn't convert it. I copied it as closely as I could. And then made some changes to make it a little more high res. So I changed the bushes over here. I don't like these bushes though. This was a long time ago. This was the very first picture I did for this game. This bush here I copied from King's Quest 1. The draw commands, took it straight out. So SCI 0 pictures are all stored in draw commands. So you can see exactly how it was drawn. And I have a video at the beginning of my streams showing the drawing process for a whole bunch of screens. So it's all stored like that, and you can actually take, so like for this tree here, you could take all the draw commands for this one bush, let's see. Cut it out and then put it anywhere I want. Move it around. I can even flip it, or I can stretch it, or I can even rotate it. Because it's just draw commands, it's just shifting the coordinates of each one. So I took it and I think I mirrored it from King's Quest 1 and put it in there. I did something. I did the same thing with some other screens, like there's a foreground tree I took from King's Quest 4. This one. You might even recognize this one. So some of them I traced over like that, and other ones I drew from scratch. So I designed Grandma's house from scratch. I wanted it to look like it's this cottage in a thickly wooded area. Which I guess it kind of portrays that. Although, excuse me, I kind of messed up on the fence here. When I first designed it, I put the fence right out off screen, but I realized you need more space when you're coming in from the left side, so I kind of put the fence back in like this and then up, and it looks a little awkward, but I'm attached to it now. The church, I had this sketched for me, a redesign of the church, and I traced over his sketch. So, and then there's just AGI placeholders here that I still need to do yet. There's the bridge screen, which is fairly close as well to the original. If we go, what screen was that? 48. You see, it's pretty close as far as the layout is concerned. The only problem with this, that there can be with this, is if you copy it outright, the size difference comes into play. So, like, on the AGI original, Graham's size is pretty small by comparison. So this is a fairly big bridge. But when you make it SCI, Graham is a lot larger. His sprite is pretty tall. For this screen, it works out because, well, it's a bridge, and I think the size difference is fine. This should be a smaller bridge. It shouldn't be this gigantic bridge in the original. For other screens, it doesn't, though. Like, so Grandma's Cottage would be tiny if I drew it at the same size, or the Monastery. So those screens you kind of have to redesign. I like how you added the cloud. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of a callback from King's Quest 4, honestly, if I'm being honest. So if I open King's Quest 4 here, I kind of was channeling King's Quest 4 with this big cloud up here. That was just on my mind because King's Quest 4 is another game where the shoreline. So yeah, art. Let's do something here. Scan in. Just wonder what program they brought the hand-painted cells. Yeah, I'm not sure at that point what they use. I think most everyone used Deluxe Paint early on. I know LucasArts surely did. After that, in the Windows days, I don't know. So I was trying to decide whether to do a sprite or a picture. Maybe I'll do the inside of the church. I have that sketch. That's going to be a screen that's way different than this one. And since I already have this plugged in, or programmed in, plugged in, at the end of the game when you get married and everything, and the positions of everyone on the screen, I'll have to change all of that. Because this is what the new screen will look like. So we'll start from scratch. New pick. We'll load from the disk. Where is this? Where is it? Is it not right here? I just opened it, didn't I? Where did it go? Where is it? Somebody show me. Am I crazy? I just had it. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. So here we go. This is... Graham's size would be fairly appropriate on screen, I think. I might have to get rid of this pew. Will I? Well, I'll just leave it and see what happens. So funny how they just had all the monsters in the church during the wedding. Even the dragon from the cave under the well in King's Quest 1. Yeah, the dragon and the... Man. Voice scratchy. Dracula was there. Hagatha was there. The dwarf was there. Neptune, the mermaid. And there was someone else from King's Quest 1 that was there too. I can't remember. Anyway. Alright, let's start this. So, we'll choose black. And just get started. So, I guess we'll start with the pews. And we have to zoom in. Oh, I went too far. game is this from? Heart of China. It's another game I remember my dad playing that I never beat, by Dynamics. Almost everything with SCI draw commands are done with the line command. There's a pen tool as well, but you can't like click and drag. It's only like one point at a time. I'm just going to draw everything in black for now and then change the colors after. Wow, that's no good. I don't like that. There we go. That's better. Pretty sure they just put all the sprites they had at the wedding to make it look full. Easter eggs. Wouldn't do to have an empty church. Of course not. Red Riding Hood and Grandma were there. Red Riding Hood at least was there. Probably Grandma too. I think the wolf was there. I think it was more than just the dragon from King's Quest 1 though. I just can't remember. I can't picture anything right now. The Enchanter. Of course he was in the second game too. Were all these commands for drawing saved into the final game file? Yes. If so, that seems like it would use a lot of disk space for the time back then. Believe it or not, it takes up less space than a bitmap, which is why they did it that way. Because the draw commands can be really compacted. For instance, we've got the regular line tool here, but there's also what's called a short line, and that records like for a normal draw command it would be probably 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 bytes long. 1 byte to designate what kind of command it is. The next byte would be the origin X coordinate, the next byte would be the origin Y coordinate, and then the next 2 bytes would be the destination X and Y coordinates. But a short line, this is how it does it in AGI anyway. I can't even use a different kind of line in Companion, so I don't even know if that exists, but it probably does. We just don't need it now because we're not concerned with file size these days. In AGI, there's one called a relative short line, which stores the smallest data it can store is 3 bytes, which would be designating the first byte would be the designated what kind of draw command it is, and then the next 2 are the origin XY coordinates, and there would be no destination. Like if you just wanted 1 pixel, you could do a short line, which is not much different than a pen tool, really, to be honest. But if you do more than 1 pixel and draw a line, the initial coordinates are 1 byte each, but the next byte has the destination X and Y coordinates compacted into 1 byte. And because of this, it's all done with bit flags. So every byte has 8 bits in it. Each bit is well, maybe I can just bring it up. It's hard to explain it without visualizing it. So actually, no. Adventures, tools, AGI to HD. I wrote a program to upscale AGI screens. I thought I wrote it down somewhere. No, I didn't. Okay, so it does it with bit flags anyway. So 1 bit is the sign of the number, so whether it's positive or negative, and then the next 3 bits is the number, which can be up to 7. So storing it that way, you can get a maximum of 7 pixels in any direction for a line. But that's it. And so that's how they come. If you didn't need a very long line, you could use the short line tool, which Sierra's tools probably used automatically if your line was a certain length, to be honest. And it would store it in a smaller byte command so that it wouldn't take up as much space. Where did you learn that? That's intense. It's been documented. The file specifications are out there for... well, it's on... ScumVM has the file specifications for AGI resources, as well as SCI. That particular... The picture... The AGI picture resource was... specifications were documented by Lance Ewing, who did a lot of AGI... reverse engineering back in the day. He designed the original pic edit in DOS. You could draw AGI pictures in DOS. Alright, and the final pew... What is this? Oh, it's from Mask of Eternity. The Whisperers. I never got that far in Mask of Eternity. Mask of Eternity, excuse me. Right, so now we got 4 pews. Now let's do these pews. Emily's so sad. It's a guilty pleasure for me. I kind of like the game. I kind of appreciate what it was trying to go for. It obviously failed in many ways. As evidenced by Space Quest Historian's recent playthrough of the game, which he'll have a video out about it soon. He's been going through the King's Quest games for the first time, and it's been very entertaining. Check out his channel, The Space Quest Historian, and he's already got the videos up for the rest of the games. He was always a Space Quest fan and hated fantasy in all forms, but he decided to play through the King's Quest games, and it was really entertaining. If you can take a little roasting from your favorite game, it's quite the watch. I highly recommend it. For relative lines in AGI, the x-coordinate could only be -6 to +7. Yes, that's correct. But the y-coordinate could be -7 to +7. It's because the value of -7 for x would be considered a new drawing command, yeah. So, 16, right? What's F in hexadecimal? F0. Is that 16? I still don't have that down yet. F is 15. Okay. Right, but it's 0, so it's the 16th value, right? Because it counts from 0. And yeah, all the bytes that start with F are F0 is 2. Okay, well, whatever. Right. Forget what I was going to say. But yes. It's pretty fascinating how they managed to squeeze data onto disks like that and save space. They had some pretty at least as far as the data types are concerned, there were definitely really cool ways to save on disk space. Whether they were utilized, like, well, that's something completely different. Like the King's Quest IV nighttime screens, obviously they didn't take advantage of that, but I don't like that. Those two lines. I'll redraw those. There. Oh. Let's go back up a bit. I have to remember what this jumble of pixels are right there. Okay. And draw order really matters in these resources. So the order in which you draw things. I try to keep as many draw commands to one object as close as possible together, so that it's easier to change something for that object if I like. And it's kind of like working with layers in Photoshop that way. So if you have a whole list of draw commands together in one space, you can move it around the screen or draw something behind it before it's drawn. It just makes it a little easier. Oh, and I've already gone and forgot to draw this here. There we go. And since I did it there, I might as well do it here too. The seat itself for this pew. Of course, I didn't do it here either. So we'll rewind. Continue to draw the bottom of that pew. A lot of these don't have the seat drawn. Maybe I'll leave them out. So I'll get rid of that and that. Okay, there's the pews. Not so bad. What's next? Let's draw the beam and the post here. Whoops. That was a mistake. Actually, maybe I'll draw the beam first. All the bytes with the F in the upper nibble were drawing commands. Right. So that meant there was a maximum of 16 commands. Yeah, right. I like where it was going. I just remember when I got MOE when it first came out, my brand new computer couldn't even handle the graphic performance. Froze and crashed so many times. Yeah, it definitely had issues. I had to just quit trying to play it after the second level. That's too bad. It's pretty playable nowadays if you get the... I mean, the frame rate is still god-awful. I'm not sure why. But you can play the game these days with DG Voodoo, which is a 3DFX Voodoo card emulator. It wraps around the Glide. It wraps the Glide... what's it called? API over OpenGL, and it recreates the dynamic lighting and everything that only the 3DFX could do with that game at the time. And it's definitely playable. Though FE weren't used, and FF was end of picture. Yeah, FF was end of picture, that's right. I wish KQ8 played more like Gabriel Knight 3. That would have been interesting. I often wondered if one could make a remake of Mask of Eternity in like the Skyrim engine or something. Because that's where I definitely envisioned like what they were trying to do. I think Skyrim kind of encapsulates perfectly what could have been done with Mask of Eternity. So we got the beam. Start doing this platform. I have some other ideas to have this platform area a little more ornate, but I'll just get this sketch traced over first, and we'll do that at some other time. Like there'd be like a table here with some stuff on it. Alright, and we'll do the cross. There's everyone's favorite song. Girl in the Tower. Played it years later. It was good, just not my favorite King's Quest game. Yeah, I agree. Good call on King's Quest 8 is Skyrim. I kind of had the same idea for Quest for Glory, honestly. Quest for Glory and an Elder Scrolls type of interface might be pretty neat. I think someone was even recreating Quest for Glory 1 in Oblivion, if I recall correctly. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Okay, we're gonna have to draw this candlestick first. I haven't decided if I want to make this candlestick part of the picture or a sprite. I'll make it part of the picture. Let's make it a bit more interesting to look at. Ooh, that's too high. Zoom in a bit more. Only have so many pixels to work with, but we gotta give them their due. Best we can. This is one of my favorite themes from King's Quest VI. I did a remix of this recently for the King's Chill project that Space Quest Historian spearheaded. A bunch of chill out remixes of King's Quest songs, and I did a vaporware remix of this one. Which you can find at spacequesthistorian.bandcamp.com for free. You can download the whole album for free. It's a bunch of King's Quest remixes we all made. And they're quite good. There's some really talented people who worked on it. Highly recommend it. Alright, there's the candlestick. Candle stand. Candelabra. What do you call this? Okay, I don't like how that comes down there. Okay, let's put it down to here. There. That looks a little nicer. King's Chill, great concept, yeah. And we're gonna do a volume 2 too. I already got some song remixes in the works for that. Actually, you know what? This probably needs a line right through like that. When I deal with colors, I might do something different there. For now, I'll leave it. Okay. Now that that's there, we can draw this. I wish I could hold shift or something and keep the line straight, kind of like Photoshop does. Alright, and the windows, and then we've got everything traced, and then it's just details. It's hard to get the exact coordinates in its low resolutions. Okay. There we go. No longer need the tracing image. I'm just gonna save this so I don't lose all this progress. What picture is this? 71. Oh, I didn't... Look at that. I didn't finish that pew line down there.
Okay. Now, that's the easy part. Now we gotta do details and lighting. I'd like the lighting to be very dynamic, very stark, maybe. Not too stark, but I don't want it to be full bright in here. I'd like to have the light coming in through the window a little bit. Judging by the position of the sun outside, the sun is kind of almost directly overhead, but kind of casting a shadow to the south and west a little bit, like this. Like you can tell by the wall shadow here. So maybe a slight beam of light in here like this. Even so there's nowhere to see in the back of this church, so we don't know if there's trees blocking the windows or not. I'm going to say there isn't, and I'm going to have some light coming in. Because I want it. But we need to choose the right colors for everything. And we can't outline everything in black because that'll look too cartoony. So I got to decide on what colors everything should be in here. What is it in the original anyway? So we got a gray floor, brown pews, blue platform with a table there, and it still has the red on the inside, just like the outside, and I've copied that on the outside, so we might as well implement that. How high does it go? Just above the bottom of the window. So that red line should kind of go like this. When I'm drawing something I can't get quite straight lined or exact, I tell myself I'm creating an organic representation of it and giving it more character that way. Oh, that's genius. Is that a candelabra or a coat rack? It's supposed to be a candelabra. They should make them a little taller. I'll deal with that later. You can always say they got married on a different day. Well, you go inside the church, whether you, like throughout the game anyway, so like, you have to go talk to the monk and he gives you the crucifix so that you can be protected from Dracula. So it's not just the end of the game you go inside. Yeah, it's always the coloring that scares me. I'd like to get some inspiration from Conquest of Camelot for the insides of rooms for this screen. Maybe even Colonel's Bequest, which had pretty much the best EGA graphics Sierra ever made. Alright, what do we got here? Okay, well, there's not much lighting in Conquest or Camelot. I'm probably thinking of something more from, like inside rooms, that is. I'm probably thinking of something more in line with, Conquest of Camelot. But, like, this is the picture I was envisioning. Like, that's too much light beams, obviously, but I like the contrast of everything here. Alright, let's try Colonel's Bequest. I actually met Douglas Herring at PAX West in 2019. There was a bit of a Sierra meetup. I flew down, met some fans, and I met some ex-Sierra employees. So I met Josh Mandela, met Douglas Herring, Al Lowe, briefly, the Coles, which was when I met the Coles. We actually got along, and they hired me to do music for the next game, Summer Days of Hero U, Tilly's Tale, which is almost finished now. I think that was all I met. There's a couple other people too. Metal Jesus Rocks was there. Man, I can't remember everybody's name. But I specifically remember Douglas Herring was there because Julia Miyamoto, who was doing
the Crimson Diamond, EGA style Colonel's Bequest looking adventure game. She has a Twitch channel. She streams development as well. You can check her out. That's like her hero, is Douglas Herring, so they got to meet, and that was awesome. She got to meet him. I would recommend making that your lighting destination. Where do you want your focal point to be in this room? What do you mean? I'm not an artist, if you couldn't tell. What do you mean by focal point? I know I'm going to have... I kind of was thinking of it in terms of where the light's coming from, so... I don't want there to be much focus on the back of the room. I'd like... I'm probably going to have this to be black up here, and then with maybe some... Let's say... lines like this to just kind of show slight light reflecting off the sides of the rafters or the ceiling tiles or whatever it is. That looks awful, but I think I'm going to keep that black. But I don't want it to be full bright. I want it to be kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not an artist. Focal point is where you want the eye to naturally go to. Yeah, so this portion of... excuse me. This portion of the background is the least interesting, besides this candelabra, which will probably have a bit of a light glow around it, maybe shaped like, I don't know, just a little bit. That's not going to cast much light, but most of the light will be like this walkway here, maybe a bit of the pews, but definitely this area. These will be foreground, so I might even just color the back. Whoops. The back's like this. So this kind of is, you can kind of see the contrasty look I'm kind of looking for here. But perhaps these would be like that. Right. I don't know, this might not even look good, I don't know, but what color is that out here again? The lines are red and dark gray, so I gotta add that to the palette. So I gotta do that way up here. I'm not gonna use red and white, so I'm gonna use that. Gotta zoom in or you won't get exact coordinates. There's a hole. Okay, so that's, in simplest terms, that's where everything's going to be mapped out to. But obviously I don't want this to be the same color all the way to the back. I'd like to get darker. But there's only so much you can do in EGA is the thing. So I have to really think about this. The floor is it gray again? So I definitely want to capture some light, and I've got to draw stuff over that and change the lines to portray that. So yeah. For me, I want my focal point where the character interaction will be. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's kind of what I don't want much attention to be on these pews, which is kind of why I darken them a bit to be in the foreground. And so he'll be walking up here, and this is where all the action's going to happen. Everything happens right here. This is where you talk to the monk, where you kneel to pray, and then he talks to you and gives you his crucifix. There's not much to do in the screen. So, not much light around that. I'll probably... Like, I want to do something like... So we go back to where these pews were colored in. Before I start filling in, I'm going to go like... Well, there's light coming in from here too, so... Let me just see if I can portray what I'm envisioning and if it even looks good. I gotta zoom in again. And then we fill. And then this part would be even darker, let's say black and gray. Except for this part where the window is, which would be sort of dark there, but then it would brighten up from the light of the window. So if I have a light beam kind of coming like this, it would shine right there, sort of thing. It's still a little too bright than I want it, though. What if I just made that black instead? I don't know. And then perhaps... I just don't know how to shape the light. Look for some photo references of contrast, or maybe even noir film photography. That's definitely what I'm looking for here. That kind of stark contrasting light. It's not going to be really dark in here, but I don't want it to be full bright either. I'll definitely do that. I'll look that up. Even some painters like Rembrandt really knew how to capture light and make it moody. Okay. If you don't want to go that in depth, just search Google for moody church lighting. It'll get your creative juices flowing. What if the monk was magical and he shrank the huge crucifix in the room to give you... Yeah, he feeds it a mushroom like in King's Quest 1. It shrinks. So, okay, let's look up some stuff here. Moody church lighting. Well, look at that. That's a little too much, but that's pretty close. I'll save that one. That's a little too bright in the windows, but kind of the opposite. Oh, that is a painting. Look at that. That could be something. Okay, what did you say? Rembrandt? That's just pictures of him, is it? That's a neat picture, just aside from that. Hello, Deavor. How are you? I like Ribbon's idea. The glow is cool though. What was the first search term? Might want that pic you pulled up for reference actually. These? I did Moody church lighting and then Rembrandt and Rembrandt paintings. This is kind of neat. It's kind of glowy though. I can't do the glow in EGA, which is, it's got to be a little bit more Doom 3 in terms of lighting contrast. This is just pictures of people mostly. What else did you tell me to look up? Yeah, so noir photography. I'm trying to get some inspiration for lighting for inside the church here. I've kind of started doing the inside of the church. Doing well, work is smooth today, and I'm finally got a haircut appointment. Oh, congratulations. I'd save a reference folder of images and refer to them later for lighting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. I have done that before, as a matter of fact. For, I saved some. Pics, reference. I saved some images for when I was doing Grandma's Cottage. So I was kind of getting inspiration from pictures like that. Oh, that screen got garbled. That's too bad. But yeah, I kind of want something like I would say this is extreme, but something closer to this. Man, noir looks so good, doesn't it? Try Caravaggio. What's the mood you're targeting? Something high contrast. Definitely high contrast. I don't want it full bright. Like, I don't want all the walls to be the same color. I want the sense of shadows. That's why I kind of tried to show what I was meaning here. The foreground pews I don't want you to focus on, so they're just all black in the back. And then this shadow could probably fall a little closer, actually. But like some light from the windows streaming in a little bit, it's going to be pretty... So like, probably something like that in terms of direction. It's not going to be very... It's not going to stream all the way in because the sun's almost at the top of the building. Like almost directly midday. It's just a bit north and east. And so it's casting shadows just south and west. That's the way I've envisioned it anyway. So I definitely have to take that into account. I want the back corner to be darker, except for this little candelabra, which will have a soft glow probably. Which I can animate with a view, actually. Another technique I use is painting all my medium tones in first, then painting in your highlights, then shadows. Interesting. With order of operations on a vector drawn image, though, I probably have to do like the light stream before anything else. Like I've drawn in the wall here, but I'm going to have to do 2 different colors of wall color for streaming in, because obviously this doesn't work in layers, but it sort of can. It's just you have to draw things from foreground to background instead of background to foreground, like you might in Photoshop. So yeah, these lines here I might draw a little further out. Like this. So actually working on something pretty similar recently, a light from stained glass. Oh, interesting. Haircut? I forget what that is. Yeah, I haven't had a haircut in 8 months. They're all closed down where we live. What about like that Conquest of Camelot intro sequence screen? I was just referencing that earlier. It's a little too dynamic though, and the focus is on the light stream. And it doesn't really have any details of the room itself. So I was going to check Conquest of Camelot, actually. So I need to display this with aspect ratio on. Okay. Like, look at all these shadows. They're so dynamic. And all over the place. It really had a sense of shading. I guess this is the most straightforward one here. Obviously this is moonlight. It's not showing any beams of light because I kind of want to have a beam of light coming in though. But at the Conquest of Camelot intro screen, it's just him by a window. It's all black in the room itself, so it's not really helpful in terms of what the lighting in the room should look like. So good. Yes, absolutely. I usually start with the main lighting, then the background, then the diffuse lighting. Well, outline the main lighting. Lighting kind of always tells me how the rest of the scene will look. The right door is actually half gas lighting, I think. Oh, yeah. So, okay, so there's probably like sconces on the walls or something that are actually animated views and not... Oh, I don't have the source decompiled for this. And not part of the background. Oh man, this is incredible though, isn't it? I like how the red just persists throughout, even though the light is different. Like it kind of acts like reflected light off of the edges of the floorboards. I kind of want that effect on the ceiling. So the roof is red outside, but that doesn't mean it has to be on the inside. But I probably could still use black and red the same way, excuse me, the same way it does. I don't want to do as many. And I just want kind of, I don't know, stuff like that. Just a faint idea where some of the light is reflecting off the top. No real information as to where it's coming from. Just light's getting up there somehow, and so it's darker at the top. So like I don't know what shape to make the shadow, because I want this to be lit up a little more, but I don't know how to make the. I just don't know what I'm doing. What if we did? I don't even know if that makes sense. And then if we put... I don't like that line at all. Boom, boom. And then this would be a brighter shade of gray. Oh, I don't have. That's one thing the default palette doesn't give you is that gray and gray dithered color. Okay. Like that. Yeah, but where's that light coming from to make that shape? See, that's what I don't understand. And I'm not the best with lighting. The ceiling is dark, but not too dark. Yeah. Like, I don't know where the light would come from to cast this shadow, so it doesn't make sense, right? So, but... yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. It looks stupid. Definitely keep that flood fill up there, though, because it's gonna be dark. But that is the shape. I don't want it full bright like this. I don't want it to have the same lighting equalized across. Somehow I want it to be more dynamic than that. And so Mark Slot was talking about designing the lighting to be centered around the focal point of what you want the player to look at, which is this area here and maybe the walkway. So I don't want much attention to be on the back. I want it to be more stark than that. And I just don't know what I'm doing. So if I make... Let's go back here. I'm going to take all of this and move it down here. But if I draw that light streaming in, okay. What color is that outside? It's a bit of red, okay. Ah. I don't want these black outlines either. So if I go back to where those windows were drawn, change their color to a dark gray. Go back to black. Oh. Kind of looks stupid, doesn't it? And I'm not sure what to make the color of outside. Like, it'd be... Like, the lighting would demand that it not be... You not be able to make out what's outside because it's so bright. But I don't want to keep it white. Yes, it'll be lit. I'll do that with... Yeah, so just, like, not very bright, though. Just a soft glow, just so you know it's there. Something interesting, but I don't want much attention other than that to be in the corner. I don't think dark gray is a good color for those windows. Maybe black and gray. Man, black almost works better, doesn't it? Works best. With the light streaming in, though, it might be a bit more hazy and make more sense. Okay, so before I get to that, it's all those lines, that's black and red. Okay, before I do that, let's just do the stream of light right here. But it wouldn't be that color. it's going to be a lighter shade of whatever is behind it. Right? So if we make it a light gray, maybe I should do it from here. This is what makes it so difficult. I don't know where that line is going to be when I'm doing this. Okay, I can draw it here and then move it later. I need gray. Now I can't do flood fills over top of colors that are already flood filled, so I'm going to have to move these draw commands to before that's been flood filled. That's the tricky part of this. Colors the window, probably do yellow, green, or cyan, or dither of them. Sounds like exactly what you want. Oh, wait a sec, I just did a complicated EGA lighting piece. I can YouTube link the alchemy lab I did. Oh, yes! You did that. Right, I forgot. You worked with Donovan too, right? To do some music for that? That was pretty cool. I really liked that. There's no glass on the window. It's just a hole. So it's just a portal to the outside. Nothing in the way. Yeah, I want to get this right. I definitely care about it. I'm not going to give up, for sure. I think the dithering pattern is off with this gray. It is too. Okay, it should be like that. That way the colors don't run into each other. Okay. So I'm going to keep this line here for now to see where that is, because I'm going to have to change the color of that after. So that's where it's going to shine on. Same thing here, actually. I'll put it right here to measure up with where the light from the pew is gone. Although, that's in the middle of the window, isn't it? So it'll have to be a little bit past it, like that. That makes sense? Something like that. So that's where the beams will be. That's just placeholders for now. Yeah, just a hole. What about yellow-green dither? Hope to work with Donovan again at some point. Yeah, I was like, as soon as he posted it, I'm like, I'd love to play a game of this, you guys. Hint, hint. Donovan's great. He's a good guy and very talented. And very musically knowledgeable. More than me. I mean, I just make music. I don't have any theory background at all, but he knows that stuff. Makes sense to me. Good, okay. So this would measure up with where the edge of the shadow would be, the very top of it. Okay. I just gotta think about this for a second. I'm trying to think of this in terms of ambient glow, and if that's a term, and reflected light. Like, how would this beam at the top be lit up? I'm kind of going all over the place, thinking about things. So light would come in here, bounce up, right? And this edge of this beam, this post, would be darker than this side because of the reflected light back. Of course, light's coming in here and reflecting here as well. I gotta look at Kern's bequest again. Again, this is at nighttime, so it's not as easy to derive lighting information from a sun source as opposed to moon. But it has some of the same principles, right? What's another good... Well, let's look at these pictures again. Not a lot of indoor lighting examples. If I just type it. Indoor. Indoor window light stream. Just throwing random words in. Okay. Take a look at you. Take a look at you. Maybe even you. I don't have a lot of posts, but I'm trying to derive some ceiling information. So it's just kind of a faint, flat color, isn't it? Barely any of these have ceiling shots. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm gonna... It's already in my music playlist. I'm gonna put it in favorites and watch later. Oh, I've muted my browser. There we go. I love all that. Like, this is some advanced dithered scattered lighting animation going on here. That's beautiful. So the color of these stone walls is obviously not blue, but it's not plain white either. What would you say the actual color of these walls would be? Because you got some yellow green fading into blue and dark blue as the light tapers off. Light is also bouncing off the bottom of the portal going up. So the beam will have a dark spot close to the wall, then kind of quickly get a little bright, then slowly get dark. Power of the bounce lighting is determined by the object it hits. If the floor is stone, it will create more diffuse light rather than reflective light, and a mirror would bounce. Right. Okay. The beam against the wall has a constant dark, not black lighting. Yeah, Mega Hammer if you like it. Thanks. You're welcome. That ceiling is receiving ambient lighting from the bounce light off the floor and some of the indirect light coming in from the window. So it would almost... I'm just trying to see how the light reflected would affect this wall. Since we're looking at it from this angle, it would be darkest the closest to the window, just to create the contrast with the light outside. And then it would slowly get brighter this way. I'm talking about the wall now, not the ceiling. Again, I'm all over the place, but... What color is it? What color is it? Is a strange question, EJ. That's true, isn't it? It's just kind of for mood and atmosphere, right? I'd say it's likely a steel blue-gray, but the darkest yellowy color in EGA is green. That's good to know. That's a good fact to have. And the cool color is also the target of the mood, yeah. Okay, I gotta get rid of these flood fills. They're messing with my brain. Just for now. I'm going to keep the red line, but I'm going to get rid of the flood fills. Okay. Actually, since this is right in where the sun is shining in, this should be a flat red, I think, since the sun's directly on it. See, this is a shaded part of the building. The sun is behind the building, and there's trees shading it everywhere. So, it would make sense to have it the red-gray. It's a little faded, a little darker, but if the sun's right on it, it should be flat red. So this should actually be flat red. Perhaps. Laser eyes, Reggie. In real light, the light would receive some glow on the edges next to your windows. Okay. The intensity and spread would be determined by the time of day and weather conditions outside. Well, it's bright and sunny. Not many clouds. And the sun is almost directly overhead. So, like, it's a bit more of a vertical stream. So with this, if I drew a line right from here to here, would this be brighter than this? Does that make sense? Does that look right? That kind of looks right to me. But then the stream wouldn't be coming from there, would it? It would be coming from where I just added the shading. Happy to see someone else besides me using Firefox and DuckDuckGo rather than Chrome and Google. You got it, man. Absolutely. That red is very dark if it's in the beam. So would you consider gray and red to be lighter than flat red? Maybe I should do red and light red then. Like this. That almost looks orange now. But I wouldn't use a flat light red because that color... I don't like that. No, that's not what it looks like to me. But it is within a light stream, so maybe the yellow of the stream that will be coming in here is brightening up that red. Like I'm picturing... Okay, so this is the red wall. I need a new color. I'm not going to be using purple, so we'll go, let's say... That might be too much. Maybe that would be like that, whereas everything else... Do you see what I'm trying to... And then this would be this color, and the rest would be dark. But I want more yellow on that. What if I did use yellow? What if I did? That means this would have to be yellow and gray. Do I have a yellow and gray? I've just light red, in my opinion. The window is bright. Light red and yellow dither, maybe? That's pretty dither. What about light red with light gray, white or yellow? Light magenta could work too. Yeah, I think you also want more yellow there so you can use diffuse light and red near the window backs. Sides of the windows, rather. Okay. So this light beam, though, it should match up with that shadow, right? Not the... Or should it? I'm not... hang on. So this line here actually should... Come on. There. Be more like this. And get rid of this line. Is that how it should be? Or am I getting that wrong? Should I have it the same way I did before? And then on the floor right here, I'm gonna zoom in. Can't work fully zoomed out. Boom. Again, the color of the floor is going to be a different color depending on where it is in the room too, but not really. I know what you were saying, but the light would be ambient in that area. Okay. The light outside would be bouncing all around the atmosphere and ground and bouncing off the nearby ground, creating ambient light. Basically, I would have window frame the same for now, then add some creative license later if you want to add some detail. The light beam feels like it needs to match with the upper window ledge. So, where I had it before. I mean, it really just has to be in relation to the left wall, which has to be brighter. I think they have to be seen side by side to see what feels right. Maybe. Oops. So maybe not such a dark gray there. Let's say the like that. Again, this gray line won't be gray like this. It'll be the same color as everything else, just so it doesn't look like an outline. I just use it there as a placeholder for now. What you just had was good. Before this? I mean, it really just... Okay, you already said that. I think they have to be... Yeah, okay, you already said... No, not this. Okay, not this. Okay. Alright, I will redraw what I had before then. Come on. I think I'm going to keep this color here, though, for that part. There's that beam. But then this, I think, should be a full-on gray. But, okay, I gotta go back to what you said about how the light reacts to the window there. I highly recommend... Okay, I missed this. I highly recommend taking a few screen grabs of these images into Photoshop or another editing program that you can sketch out all your light sources and play with lighting angles. I will probably do that. Maybe next time. Light outside will be bouncing all around the atmosphere and ground and bouncing off the nearby ground, ceiling ambient light. Just got to have window frame the same for now, then add some creative license later. Okay. Yeah, there's probably a bit of a delay going on. So like, keep it like this. Okay. Bravo. Thank you. Okay, and I'm still... So what... So there'd be ambient light kind of around the window. So if I get rid of this flood fill I had here... maybe it would be something like that. So that would be like that, and this would be kind of... Is that kind of... Maybe if... But then there's the glow from the candle there. I don't know. I'm flying by the seat of my pants right now. And then... too much. Yeah, maybe. And then I try to replicate it, what I get done in Photoshop, easier with the vectors after once I have a better idea what I'm trying to do. Ambient around window, but it might not be something you can represent in this scene. I was just saying how real world light behaves. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you have to take creative license with these decisions. What happens in real-world scenario does not always mean it will look good. I think it would look better if you use the small lines to fudge the edges, like you do with the grass and trees outside. I agree with Marx. I hope I didn't confuse you too bad. Obviously I'm getting a crash course in light theory. And I'm not even really an artist, but I think I'm getting the gist. I'm getting most of it. What if the left part of the parallel light borders was angled more to the left, closer to the candelabra? The left part of the parallel light borders. You have to explain what you mean by that. Closer to the candelabra. It would mean the sun was lower, but would add a longer sunbeam. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that, though. It doesn't make sense. Once you go outside, the sun's right on top overhead. I want to keep it... Plus, if I have a really long sunbeam, then it wouldn't make sense for Graham to be the same color walking through the beam and out of the beam, and... It's too much. Oh, nice. Yeah, thanks for your advice, Critical Buzz. That would be more moodier, like if it came in more at an angle like this. Just here, it's more easily controlled, and I wouldn't have to make as much changes to everything behind the light beam, which, again, in EGA vector command drawing is quite a bit more complicated. Like this is kind of the focus, where I want the focus to be. You know what I mean? So if I draw these lines, before I filled it, went black and gray, so it tapered off a bit faster. Whoops. These lines are so easy, hard to control sometimes. Come on. There. And actually, if we come back up to this flood fill, I want to get rid of this. And then black. I don't even know if this makes sense. Is this kind of the way the shape of the light works? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. And then like that. Kind of looks like a clay Spanish church with all the red. Yeah, that's like a, what do you call it? A parish or something. Like, yeah, the Spanish is exactly what I think the original was evoking. Because on the outside, that's what it has. And AGI original as well. That just uses the hard red. But I think that's what it was going for, especially with the shape of the roof there, which I can't replicate because we're zoomed in too far on this. It actually was sketched out if you check the original sketch he made for me. He had the bell tower and everything there, but Graham was too big for this screen, so I had to zoom it in. And there were three windows here too, and I had to zoom it in and chop them out. So there's only two in the end. But that's a good idea. He probably needs to block out the major points first. Only change I'd make is that the curve going over the cross probably doesn't curve back down. Oh, like right around here, right at the top. Just keep it going up. I can do that. So like right from there, get rid of these two lines. And just keep climbing. So in this way too, now that I see it like this kind of looks like an ambient glow. It's kind of faking an ambient glow around the... But then the ceiling is almost incomprehensible. Maybe I should make the line separating the ceiling from the wall. Maybe I should make that a different color than black. Okay, so this line right here, maybe we do black and gray. And then we got something differentiating it. Yes, that's how light works. Just would not be so dark. The light source is not strong enough. I think the original church looked like a mission. Mission, that's the word I was looking for. And this is really kind of like the same design. It's just, well, no, I have it right here. It's just a different camera angle and with the windows. For some reason, they didn't put the windows in here. It's just kind of a different camera angle for it, but with a little bit more moodier lighting. Okay, so now that we have that, maybe this would be full bright then? It wouldn't be so... Unless I make the dip here larger. Because, like... Or is that too much? Should I keep it like this? Maybe I'd be drawing too much attention to this corner if I started making stark contrasting lighting around it like that. Maybe it should just be like this. let's try to continue the lines here. So we started with gray. No. And then that gray. And the black. I might add some black just here. This is too straight. And then right here used to be, let's say yellow and gray. Do we have a yellow? Yes, we do. Like that. And then the red and gray, or red and yellow. Oh, I have two of them. So I didn't need one of them. And then the regular. Okay, now the only problem we have is actually, this will probably be a different color too, wouldn't it? The only problem we have is the red is the same color all the way around. Should the red get this kind of a treatment as well? I don't know, the whole thing still almost looks too bright to me. But maybe it's fine. Obviously right here would be a different color, but Taco Bell. Yes, a faked ambient glow just feels too dark. You think it's too dark? Okay. Need to adjust your beam to match the arc again, like the left window. Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, and so I'm probably not even going to have this here, am I? This flood fill with the yellow because of that. Okay, let's go back to where we drew the lines. Like that. Oh, and that's wrong. It goes there. And then we got light gray. Actually, I kind of think this should be a flat dark gray. Like, does that make sense, or is it not? Might not make sense. Okay, before I flood fill the floor in, I just want to make the shape of the light on the floor there. Zoom in. This should be this color. Need to adjust your beam to match the arc again. Yep. I like the layout of this room. Yeah, me too. The guy who sketched it, he called himself Little Blue Smurf from Infamous Adventures. He's apparently disappeared now. I talked to Stephen Alexander Blackthorn about him a couple weeks ago, and he said, yeah, I lost contact with him. Are there a limited number of dithers per scene? No. You just have 40 color entries. As many of them can be dithered or not as you like. But you have 40 entries, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 5 by 4 is 40, right? No, 1, 2. I mean, 8 by 5 is 40. Yeah. So you can have 40 colors. What's your day job? I work for a company called. Well, I work with a company that it has a department called Support Independent Living, which I help people with intellectual disabilities throughout their day. So they have like medical appointments. We help them to make those and maybe help them do their banking or shopping and just the daily things they need that they can't do by themselves. A lot of them are pretty good actually in our group, but yeah, it's pretty rewarding. And there's also another department in our company where there's group homes, and so there's a home with multiple clients, and it's staffed 24/7. I'm more in community, and I meet them out in the community and spend time with them. Just need a gradual set of alternate gram views for the beam lighting. Yeah, I could do that. Ceiling's too dark. Okay. Maybe that's why I was saying maybe this is too bright, because I kind of want that dark, stark ceiling look. Because the next darkest color there is what? Or because you said the darkest would be green, right? What if we did green and black? No, that wouldn't make any sense at all. Okay. So here's where it was black. If we change it to black and gray, then it's like that. And then this black line shouldn't be black then, should it? Okay. Oh, these aren't the same. This is yellow and brown, and this is yellow and red. Oh, okay, that's fine then. I probably want it like that. Okay. Anyway, nope. Nope. Very no. Everything is too bright. I don't know. I mean, you know more than I do. I'm not going to argue with you. It's too dark, it's too dark. It's not fitting in, is it? Well, let's do this beam here. Let's color that in. Does that make sense? I still haven't the top of these pews either. What color should they be? Maybe gray and brown. I don't have a gray and brown color yet. Whoops. I just using too many colors? Should this just be a flat brown? Critical Buzz, thank you for subscribing. 2 months. Thank you so much. Whoops. And then, is there a... is this too much? If I did something like that, that's too much, isn't it? It's too off the wall. No pun intended. Maybe I just do a flat brown there. I'm probably using too many colors. Okay. I gotta catch up here. Just noticed I wasn't following you on Twitter. That's been remedied now. Well, thank you. Oh, there's been a lot of conversation. I'm sorry. I don't mind the ceiling being too dark. It's not an important element of the room. Thinking I might try making a few swamp scenes for King's Quest 2. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you could do with that, Deavor. That's something, like, if this is hard enough for me, just this room with some well, not really complicated lighting, but not simple lighting either. Something as dynamic as I'm looking for with the swamp areas, I'm not going to be able to pull off. So I really appreciate the help if you can do something with that. Saw you and Brandon talking a little on Twitter about the swampy backgrounds. Yeah. That's so nice. You get a ticket to heaven. Also offered to do a couple, but nothing on deck at this point. Was it you, or was it... I guess it was Gumby, wasn't it? That did the wood screen with the mallet in the tree? I'm going to have... I don't want to deface his work, but I'm going to have to change that screen a little bit because... Where is it? The mallet. There it is. It doesn't match up with the rest of the screens. The sun's coming from the wrong direction, and it's too long. The shadows are too long. And yeah, I just want to do some tweaking to this. I really like the tree leaves, though, and the branches. It's very nice. And like the black outline of the rock, I don't want it to be black outlined. I'll probably make it a little more natural looking. Like this rock on the beginning screen here, I got a lot of black, but see, like the side where the sun is, it's a darker brown, a darker gray, sorry. It's just to match up with the rest of the screens, that's all. I'm definitely very grateful he made this, though. And it looks wonderful. I like this rock here. This is a good looking rock. Use red and black for the ceiling. Brown if you absolutely have to. No, I just use red and black for the ceiling. Oh, that would be neat. I'm just... Okay, yeah, following. Blue and red are the darkest colors. Green is the darkest yellow color. I see. Right. The dark is just my opinion. You could try a different color for dark, like blue. Or skip dark purple. The windows look great now. Thank you. I think the ceiling needs more red, like just squiggle a bit around the lines that are there. Okay. Pew top, bright red or something, or similar dither, in my opinion. Okay. Do we have brown and... Yeah, we do have a brown and red dither. I think it's... No, that's yellow and brown. We don't have brown and red. Let's get a brown and red. Let's add that to the palette. We don't use this gray. Okay, when we do dither colors, the B color is usually the primary color. Except in this case. We should fix that. Okay, this one. Brown and red. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. I like that. It's just different enough to... Good. Okay. But I think I'll use... No. No, I want the primary color to be... The primary color is the B color, usually, it seems like, so... Yeah. That works. But see, like this stark shadows on the pew here, and there's no stark shadows behind. Does that make sense? Maybe these stark shadows shouldn't even be here? I don't know. This line needs to be moved on the pew, this from the sunlight. Move that in a little more. There we go. Oh, and the top of that should be brighter, right? Maybe I'll have the top of the pew just a flat red. Or like a light red, like that. It's not too different though, is it? That doesn't make sense. I guess it's not a big deal. Keep it. Now to subscribe, please make the sunbeam bigger. Fine. Here. This is for you. Oh, hang on, my phone's ringing. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Now I'm just curious to see what this looks like, so... So that's kind of what that looks like. Oh, I guess I had the sunbeam yellow. Right, okay. Like that. Oh, there's a hole in the line. Dang it. The floor flood fills. Well, there you are. Come on, where is that? I can undo all of this, but... There. Mostly. No, it's fine. Don't worry about backseating. I welcome backseating as far as art's concerned because it is not my forte. To use a term from a creative department that I am fluent in. Not quite my forte. So I appreciate any and all feedback and suggestions. I have to agree with Critical Buzz about the light beams. They do seem a little thin. Unfair. Indoor lighting is the hardest, in my opinion. Gumby did that one. Okay. Styles clash a little, yeah? Yeah. A little. I can make it work. I just hope he doesn't mind me changing it a little bit. The world is midday? Yeah. This is neat to watch. So neat to watch. Is there a third window outside the scene? Not in this camera angle. So we have the entrance here, and then you'll turn into the left. This is where the altar is in the cross. So we got 2 windows on either side. Actually, it's a little closer to the end, isn't it? Oh well. It's close enough. So it's like the same windows on the other side. So these windows would be here off screen. So that's kind of where it's coming from. I gotta go, but this has been super cool. Okay, thanks, Davor. Thanks for joining. And thanks for subscribing again. And that was Critical Buzz. Thanks, Critical Buzz, for subscribing again. But yeah, we'll talk later, and I'm looking forward to see what you do with the swamps. Take it easy, man. I'm kidding, it looks fine now. Also, I have to say, I'm impressed at you doing this live. I'd be intimidated. Well, I'm not worried about ruining my reputation or anything, so... I'm no good at art. I'm just not. Okay, now we're back to the way it was. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I just used one shade darker for all of these colors, because I just want it to be a little darker, just a bit darker. So if I went... So what did you say? Blue and red were the darkest colors. If I use blue. And then... Yeah, blue's the good reflected color light, right? Color? Reflected color light color? I'm using a lot of grays. I'm not... I don't know anything about art. Okay, but not much anyway. But the warmer colors are kind of like the bright colors, right? Because the sense of heat from the sun and a light source. The cooler colors are reflected light, which is why you get in some of those early Sierra VGA backgrounds, you get one side that's kind of more of a yellowish or reddish shade of the color, and then you get the tone, the core color that the actual object is in the center, and then on the left side you get that kind of bluish cooler tone of the color. And for reflected light, I'm not using a lot of blue in the screen. It's a lot of reds, a lot of red and earth tones. The blue might make it a bit more dynamic, so maybe this should be... I'm just experimenting still at this point, but let's say for this gray we use blue and gray. The dithering patterns are opposite here, but don't worry about it. That doesn't make sense either, does it? Especially with these red lines up here. I don't know. I'm working it out. I'm actually getting pretty close to having to sign off now, but... Feels very King's Quest-esque. Good. Or purple if you don't like the blue. Fortunately, it's not a jam game, so you have plenty of time to experiment. Yeah. Now, doing a jam game is something way outside my comfort zone, for sure. I mean, so far, this game has taken 15 years, so... Yeah. Purple, you say? Purple's pretty bright, isn't it? I don't really like that. But, I don't know. The blue evokes darkness when you use it properly. I can understand how that works. I don't know. To spend more time on this on Thursday when I come back, but because purples do incorporate some red. That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, the EGA purples are fairly bright, and I'm looking for a darkness up here. Well, I'm learning as I'm going, and that's the main thing. Once I get this down, it'll be a lot easier to do indoor rooms. That's for sure. Back to Colonel's Bequest. Some of these rooms are... So like, okay, this room here. Yeah, it's got purple on the ground, doesn't it? But there's a lot more blue in Colonel's Bequest because the whole game takes place at night. So it's like all very dark, soft lights. But you can see where there's darkness, there's blue. There's gray too, but that's for contrast. The blue definitely looks darker almost sometimes. Like, though, I'd argue that these grays are more of a highlight, or do you think it'd be backwards? I mean, this building is blue. No, it's not. It's red on the outside. It's used as a contrasting color for adjacent shadow anyway. He's even got teal here. It's very colorful. I might be falling into the trap of trying to be too realistic with the colors, and I've only got 16 colors to work with. Okay, so here's the chapel. The pews are reddish because it's darker. I could probably stand to go a little more red like this. Maybe? Definitely a lot of blues, but again, no sunlight. This is all moonlight and darkness. And this is the daytime, and it should feel brighter than that, but... Yeah, this discrepancy with the blues, I'm probably not going to keep this blue, but... It definitely seems like this ceiling is too dark with this shading. But if I darken these shades a little more and maybe make the... I don't know. Maybe it won't work. Maybe it will work. I'm going to find out on Thursday when I do more. I do like blue too. But remember, this is all you, man. Your vision. Yeah, well, I'd like... I mean, I can't just do whatever I want at the same time. But if it feels right to me, I'll go with it for sure. But I think this is a good start. I'm going to get rid of those blues for now. This is a good start. I think it should be... Anyway, we'll continue this on Thursday, 9 a.m. Central, and we'll work some more on this screen. I'm liking the progress I'm making so far. I mean, it's already miles better than I thought it would be. So, and I really appreciate the feedback in the chat. You guys have been awesome. I'm glad I got a lot of art people watching today, quite a few. So, I really lucked out with the audience today. This was very cool to watch. I need to run, but I really appreciate you doing these videos. I would love to create my own remake of one of these King's Quest games at some point. It's pretty fun if you're in for the whole ride. It's quite a ride. There's a lot to do, but it's fun. Have a good rest of the day, you too. Thank you for the information you shared. See you later, Critical Buzz. See you later, Sir Marks a lot. Shadon, if you're still around. I know Dave Orr left. Slat Studios. Who else has been here today? Scrolling up. No, the chat ends a little while. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, anyway. Mr. Dave, I know you've been here. Ribbons of Distinction, right? and everyone else who's watching. Thanks so much for showing up. We'll return on Thursday. See you later.